Our next speaker is a proud mother of 3 beautiful children. She's obsessed with organizational health, productivity hacks, and leverage. This desire for organizational health, productivity hacks, and leverage led her to build from scratch in a state that we are super strong and dominant in called North Carolina. She built a top 5 team in the state where we are strong. We are proud to have on this stage, help me welcome Anna Powell, everyone. Bring her up. North Carolina's in the house.
Thank you for this event. Love story. Hello. Hi. Okay, I don't have a slide deck. I kind of wish I did right now, if I'm being honest. There's a lot of you out here. But I started this slide deck 2.5 years ago when I was in Grapevine, Texas, in my mind. And I was hearing so many of you speak at my first Build event, and I said, I'm going to be up there. I told my husband, give me a little bit of time. We're going to build this thing. We're going to do what this company has given so many people in this room, and I can't wait to tell that story. I want you to take a second right now, because there is no slide deck, there are no notes, there's nothing to take a picture of. Put those notepads away, put your pens away, put your phones away. I just want to give you a chance to be really present in this moment. And I'm going to try to make the story as entertaining as I can in exchange for that. So I have 2 things that I know to be true about myself. Number 1, I'm a natural positive person. I think Brent probably fits that description, would we agree? And I know that all things work together for good. And I think that thank you. I think that life, piece has always contributed to that positivity for me. You see, I, from the very beginning of my life, lived out this story of all things work together for good. My birth mother was 16 years old when I was born. I had a birth father who I think didn't know existed until the paperwork came, so I can only imagine the dysfunction that life might have brought. I was adopted into a family with my parents who were 40 at the time. My mom had wanted a baby as long as she could not have one. And they were financially stable and I think emotionally mature, although I'm now approaching 40, so I'm starting to question that principle in my head. And I just know that from that very beginning, I was able to see such an amazing life because someone made a choice, and that choice brought me into this amazing family. If it sounded idyllic to you, it was. Everything that I wanted, I was given. Every interest I had, they allowed me to pursue. But one other thing that I got from my amazing family was serial entrepreneurship. Both of my grandfathers built really big businesses, and we celebrated their success and their legacy all throughout our lives. In fact, on my dad's side, all of the cousins have our own businesses. That came in really handy in 2011 when I graduated from college in the worst job market ever, okay? And I was prepared. Let me tell you my resume. I was a musical theater major with a history degree. Wait, Asian studies minor. Yeah. I looked really good on paper. So the good news is I was able to know that I was just going to have to find my own path from the very beginning. So I moved to a small town in coastal South Carolina called Beaufort. Still has my heart today. Love Beaufort. And I started the Low Country Music Studio, and it was the joy of my life. And I was able to just contribute into children, get them started in their performance careers, but I can remember my studio. You know when you just remember things so vividly? The floors of my studio were just this beautiful heart pine floor, and I can look out my hazy glass window and see the street. And I could hear the children just coming and going. As life will have it, and I'm going to share with you that phrase a few times today, my life took me away from Beaufort. I had a failed marriage at 25, which was real embarrassing. I had to leave behind a house I loved, friends that I loved, 2 that are here today, which is kind of a wild story. And I had to leave behind that business. And I remember my last trip out of Beaufort. I went to my studio, I laid on those beautiful hardwood floors, and I just wailed. Because these businesses, guys, they're our babies. We love these things. And I knew how hard it was going to be to rebuild because I'd now built one. But in that moment, laying on those floors, being very dramatic, wailing out, my map to good started. You see, my life took me back to North Carolina. I got to have that adult relationship with my parents in close proximity. I watched my mother become somehow an even better grandmother than she had been a mom. I started in real estate. My dad was a developer, so I was able to share that love language with him. In 2019, I got married again, and this one's working, it's good. I have 3 beautiful children, 3 boys, and in 2019, my husband was able to leave his outside sales job to really focus in on our real estate business together. We got to build it together, which has been really fun. In 21, Tina Call, Ashley Bomarino never gave up on me, invited me to sit at Tina's table and explore EXP. We started the year 2021. I showed a house a week after I had my twins via C-section, a week. By the end of 21, I had a director of operations and 2 buyer's agents and an office. Boy, I felt really big time. And as we went into 22, we grew that organization. We had 8 people on our sales team, 20, 30 people on our downline, and we went to Grapevine, Texas, to our first build event. And I sat somewhere over here on the right side of that big ballroom, and I just listened to story after story affirming this decision. We had 8 agents at the time. Business was running. I was able to take a week off, take my phone, put it down, and be present. And in that room, I heard many of you speak, actually. There's plenty of you here that spoke. One person in particular told a story, and I remember it resonating with me. John Sy, I don't know if you're in here, but you shared how you had built your business with a lot of adversity in your personal life. You shared your mother had had a stroke, your father had passed away, and I remember being in that room and saying, I cannot fathom what that kind of disruption would do to my new baby, to my new business, to my life. It was my greatest fear come true. And as life will have it, when I got back to North Carolina that Labor Day weekend, Monday night, my dad texted me or called me and said, your mom's had a stroke, we're going to the hospital. I spent the night with her that night. Somewhere between the hazy hours of 12 and 2 a.m., I knew my life was never going to be the same. And as the day turned into a week, we knew we had a stage 4 lung cancer diagnosis. We had hospice on Friday, and the following Friday, I started to plan her funeral. It was, if you've experienced grief, you know you get this weird sense of adrenaline that kind of just keeps you going. I became kind of this PR person for our family. I held it all together. I did all the things. And a couple weeks later, EXPCon was on my calendar. And my husband said, I think you should go. You should go. You'll be good. It'll be good for you to get out of this space, go enjoy some time with your people, get to learning. So I went. And the second that heavy door in my hotel room at the Mandalay Bay shut, it was like I'd been locked in prison, and I knew I'd made a terrible mistake because I was not ready to be by myself, having to kind of deal with this delayed grief. The adrenaline had finally slowed down a little bit. And I think I went from the bed to the bathtub, I ordered some room service in the bathtub. I did everything I could, just waiting for it to be time to take my flight back home. I get my phone out. As I'm in that bathtub, I remember this moment very vividly. You know, Mandalay Bay, those dark walls in your bathroom and the light, you can never get your makeup on very well. And I start scrolling, looking for a little dopamine on the Instagram, because that'll make me feel better. And I see that my dear friend Allison Greco is in Vegas for Zillow Flex. And I can tell you, when I described my studio, I told you those hazy windows I could see out. Allison's car would often be out there because her real estate office was across the street from my studio. So Allison, you got me out of the bathtub. Thank you. That led me to go on to a general session where Kyle Whistle told me that I was not too small to start EOS in my business. That began that journey of organizational health that I fell in love with. We set our core values. You know, I had 8 agents at the time running a business for me while I was in the worst state of my life as far as grief goes. And Allison Greco's here today. And she brought over 70 agents in her market within 3 months of joining EXP. So that was cool. But it's another one of those moments where that bathtub was the start to the map to good. And it's why I truly believe that all things work together for good. And from here, if I had my slide deck, I would have all the things we did in 2024. And they were amazing. We were up 58% on our local market. My sales team is up to 40. We have a revenue share that I think brought in like $80-some thousand this past year, which is a dream come true. I bought investment property. I seller financed it with 0% interest. Thank you, Pace Morby. And I used some tax strategies from Kyle Whistler. He shared his financial planner's information with me to set up a self-directed IRA, and my amazing cost segregation analysis allowed me to put tons of money back into my community, feeling very confident about our financial position. Those were all amazing things. 2024, on paper, was a dream. I thought maybe it was just burnout. I thought maybe I was just tired. I thought maybe it was just, the dopamine wasn't hitting like it used to, but I was very disconnected last year. And I have text messages on my phone from people saying, hey girl, I saw you on the Zoom this morning. You seem a little less sparkly than normal. I hope you're good. Allison, who's an ID, would be like, are you good? What's wrong with you? And I started to just think, this is just normal. This is what we've all talked about. It's the plateau. I'm just gonna have to live here in discipline. I took a month off, spent time with the kids. I did all the things that I thought was gonna fix it. But EXP showed up for me again. Tina Call, my mentor and dear friend, invited me just a few short weeks ago to go to Minneapolis to work with Renee Rodriguez for a few days. There's a few women in this room, we got to share that experience together. And I thought, as a performance major, this is it. I'm gonna go, he's gonna teach me how to stand. I'm gonna get my hand positioning on stage correctly. That's what my mindset was. I was like, I'm gonna be great at this. This is gonna be good for me. I broke down at dinner the first night, like hysterics. And then through observational learning and through his amazing toolkit, I just kind of reconnected back in. On my flight home from Minneapolis on Sunday morning, this most amazing thing happened, and my skin started tingling, and I'm not woo. I like tactical real estate, so y'all, I am out of my box today. But the tears started falling, and I just knew in that moment that I was reconnected to myself. It's like my little brain was like, hey girl, it's good to have you back. This is gonna be a fun year now. And so with that, I came back and I knew some things were certainly gonna have to change. But I have something that I wanna share with you that I learned that I have in common with all of these moments that I shared. I shared the floor of my studio on those floors. I shared that dark bathroom in Mandalay Bay, and I can tell you about that breakfast burrito in first class with a man who I think thought I was insane at 7 o'clock in the morning, having a full breakdown on a first class flight home from Minneapolis. But what I can tell you is that in those three moments, I was just present. There's no other magic. I wasn't thinking about how am I gonna go home? How am I gonna apply this? How am I gonna fix this problem I have? Sometimes I create my own problems just to figure out how to solve them. I'm an IE on the working genius scale. But here's the thing, I literally, in those 3 moments, were just present. It was just me. And I've got 3 minutes, and I want to give you the chance to hopefully have a similar moment. So I want you to close your eyes for just a second. Just get woo with me for just a second. The other thing that those 3 moments had in common is it was quiet. We're in a room with 1,000 people, and it's quiet. We know the stats around 24. We know how hard our industry has been over the last year. I want you to take a second and I want you to say hello to yourself first, but I also want you to go in and really calculate what are the emotions, what are the feelings that I have around my business last year. Condense them down into a word, a phrase. And if we can be vulnerable together for just a second with your eyes closed, if that was a positive word, would you raise your hand? Great, thank you. If that was a negative word, will you raise your hand? You can open your eyes. 10% of the world's population naturally positive. I assume we have a higher percentage here. We're entrepreneurs. You have to be positive to survive. But so many hands up on the negative front here. So I have a message for you. My thesis has changed. I'm a positive person because I believe all things work together for good. But I do know now that the path to good starts in presence. You have to be present first. So if you raised your hand and you had a rough year and you're in a bad headspace today, I just want to give you the freedom to find some presence today with this incredible group of people so that your map to good can start, because this company is like rocket fuel for that. Your path is going to be faster and it's going to be easier to get through. Those of you that had positive words, I'm sure you checked some boxes last year, and if you're feeling like you're detached from that, if you're feeling like that connectivity in is not there, I think presence is probably what you're missing. And for our spiritual gurus in here, that you're very present already, we need you. We need you to shine your light, to share with us that process. Guys, I have been at this company long enough to know how amazing it is. I hope you, but I know we're talking about this EXP 2.0, and I hope you can feel it. I feel it. I feel it from the bottom up. I feel it from the top down. And we are so strong together. Please, we've got two days left here. Be present with one another. Allow that presence to start mapping your route to good. And I cannot wait to be back here next year and to see the check boxes that we achieve. But to do it and know that we were all here together in presence is going to be the most amazing testimony. So thank you so much for letting me share the stage.